This way of working in abstraction and just playing with shapes started when I was doing my teaching credential. I created a lesson around notan, and notan is a Japanese word for the interaction of light and dark. So I made this project that was a cut paper project, and this way of working where I would cut out shapes and then arrange them and then add some painting in there, add some drawing in there, just blew open the possibilities for what I was doing with my compositions, the idea of what abstraction could look like for me. I've often wanted to make work that wasn't just one thing. And I think that's what abstraction is really good at. It's really an interesting way to invite different interpretations. I'm interested in using my work to pose questions rather than provide answers. I've been drawing and painting my whole life, and I started to take it really seriously and see that it could be my career path when I was in high school. I really saw making art as this healing process that I needed in my life. When I finished my undergrad degree at University of Michigan in Ann Arbor, I moved to Detroit. The city left a really strong impression on me. Just this idea of finding beauty in the things that are overlooked and the things that we as a society discard. And that followed me when I moved to Oakland. That early work was still about looking for interesting stories in deteriorating society of old buildings, construction debris, and places where humanity had disrupted the landscape. That was really interesting to me. And then walking along the beach, I started to look to the ocean, just painting and drawing content that was very visually complicated to look at. I just really love figuring out how to represent something in paint that is very hard to understand when you look at it in real life. I oftentimes go into my work not knowing what it's about. Sometimes it's like working on a hunch. And oftentimes I look really narrow into a subject matter. Like, what is it in my tiny backyard that is out of this world? Is it the slugs crawling on the collard greens in my garden? Is it the little fire in my tiny fire pit and all the things burning down? And in the past year, there's just been some very powerful times sitting around the fire. Actually, I'm wearing the vest of our dear friend Rashad, who passed away. And after his celebration of life, we kind of hang out at our house, and several of us were sitting around the fire and remembering him. It was a cold night, and we were standing closer and closer and closer until we all were just like a little circle. I started to think about this idea of the shared silence around a fire, that it's hypnotizing. You let your imagination run wild when you watch a fire burn down and you see shapes and you see a little world in there. And that's working with the fire came for me. I look back at my work, it feels like an emotional record. It reminds me of how I was feeling at the time. The same colors that I was using with the flames and the ash and the charcoal, they were the kind of beginning of the ideas for the more abstract pieces. When I look at this work, even though it's not a self-portrait in a literal way, I think it is still about me, and it's still about the body. I've been dealing with just a lot of pain in my hands and my elbows, and I see tendons in the work. I see inflamed joints, and I see just a lot of the visuals of trying to heal myself. All of that imagery that I would hear when doctors would describe to me okay, we're going to try to heal your tendon by itself with your own blood cells. I felt like those images were coming through my work so much, and I would try to visualize, okay, I can do this, I'm gonna heal myself. Sometimes I felt like I was doing surgery on my art, very carefully adding something big and then cleaning it out and scraping it, and it's this very medical process in making those pieces. I've been a part of this gallery Gearbox since 2019. And one of the things that I've enjoyed about being in Gearbox is it provides you an opportunity to posing an idea for a show and who you show with. The artist that I'm showing with, Linda Ellenwood, she creates these sculptures that are from natural plant materials and seaweed and things from trees. And you almost can't tell if they grew like that or if she made them. I've watched her work over the past 5 years or so, and I've seen this very interesting dialogue between my work and her work. She put forth the title idea, Primal Alchemy. And when I was thinking about, is my work primal, I was thinking of the word elemental. Obviously, fire is one of our elements. And then when I read the second definition of primal, the origin of our emotional lives, I feel like that talks to my work, the origin of our emotional lives. And I've always been really interested in using art to talk about really difficult things to articulate, and then also using it as a tool for talking with other people and just hearing what questions they have and a way to start conversation.